it's Lavon. Welcome back to my channel and to Step by Step. Every week we come here and paint furniture and I show you how step by step. I'm just having some fun in the rain. Well, that's what it looks like anyway. It's actually a gorgeous day here in central Pennsylvania and I'm working on a dresser for a client. This is it in a nice pale yellow, but when you look up close there's lots of condition issues. It's seen better days. So it's ready for a makeover. She bought some knobs, and here they are, and that helped us decide what colors. The top is super smooth enamel, so we're using Dixie Belle's Slick Stick on it. And the first step is to remove the hardware. Very pretty hardware, but the new hardware will dictate what we do with the rest of it. And the next step is to clean it. I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning. It's a powdered cleaner and you mix it with warm water and you can either use it in a bucket or you can put it in a spray bottle like I'm doing here. I usually use this method unless the piece is super dirty. And also really important is the next step is to rinse it with water. And again, I use a mister bottle to rinse it with. But if you don't do that, the residue from the cleaner can cause the paint not to adhere properly. Always want to take these steps before you start painting. You'll be surprised how much dirt comes off. So now we're painting the top with the Slick Stick. Slick Stick is a bonding primer. So that means these super slick surfaces, it helps the paint to grab onto it. Now Dixie Belle Paint will adhere to almost any surface, and after 30 days it will cure. But if you don't quite have 30 days, this will make sure that you can't scratch off any paint. I could have used this on the entire body of the dresser, but instead I just did it on the top. And now I'm painting the drawers, and the color we're using here is in the navy. Such a pretty color. It's nice deep blue. I am painting with the drawers in the dresser at first, but then I decide that it's better to remove them. The bridges in between the drawers are very narrow, so it was very hard to reach them. When I'm blending on a piece of furniture, that's when I usually leave them in. So again, I started this way and then took them out to finish them. And now I'm working on a second coat on the body. I missed a spot the first time, so that's what's good about a second coat. You can go back and get it again and correct your mistakes. The mask hanging off my face is a fixture nowadays. I'm ready for customers. And the drawers are also getting a second coat. At this point you may notice that I made a boo-boo. The new knobs for the drawers are only require one hole, and the former drawer pulls had two. So I realized this about this step. So I'm just happily painting, and then it dawns on me that I needed to drill a hole and close up the other ones. So after the paint dries, I come back in with my drill and drill a hole in between the other ones. And now I'm using Dixie Belle's mud, and I'm using it in black to close those holes. I'm using as little product as possible to close them, but also removing as much as I can, because the more product I remove, then I'll have less to sand off later. And since I've already painted, I don't want to have to do much sanding. While that is drying, I use Dixie Belle's Fluff with an artist brush, and I go around the grooves in the frame of the drawer. This is kind of a tedious process, but it's well worth it because it really defines the drawers. I'm kind of off camera here, but I'll be coming around that corner, and you'll see it just kind of it has a painterly look, so it looks very hand painted. As I continue to paint, I build up paint on this little tiny brush, so sometimes my paint is hitting the sides of the channel as well. So I come back later and I'll show you how I correct that. But the goal right now is to get the paint down in that channel. So some might think this is relaxing, and I do, and some people might think this step is stressful. What do you think? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you're interested in purchasing Dixie Belle products, there's a link in the description box, my affiliate link. When you use my affiliate link, it doesn't cost you any more, but I get a little kickback. And also, I hope you have subscribed to my channel, and if you haven't, please do. And also hit that notifications bell so that you'll know when we have new videos. Now I'm using Best Dang Wax in clear, even though it looks white in the container. And this brush I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and it actually seemed like a good brush and at a good price, but I was a little disappointed because it's shedding like crazy. So I had to keep stopping and pulling the hairs out. Otherwise, I like the brush. So I'm being very liberal and applying the wax, and then you come back with a soft cloth or paper towel and remove most of the wax just by buffing it. And then you can come back later and do another buff. You don't want to be too aggressive on this buffing because you can actually pull off some of the paint. These products are all water-based, so if you add another one on top of another one before it's dry, it can actually reactivate the paint. So here I'm taking in the navy and going over where I patched, and of course I sanded it first. I'm also taking the brush and kind of flattening it and going over those channels. That touches up the sides, but it leaves the fluff paint in the channel or the groove. Now I'm using white wax. I'm using a little stencil brush and just going around the detail areas and then pulling that paint back as well. It's just giving it a little bit more interest. White wax on dark paint is really a great choice. And there's a close-up. Again, it has a very painterly look. So I'm loving that look. And I hope my customer's going to be pleased with it. I was pleased with the results. You can see that the knob kind of has that painterly style, so I think the paint job suits them. I thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you'll come back and see us again. You can visit us on lavintagedecor.company, and also on Instagram, we're LaVintage Decor. And on Facebook, we're LaVintage Decor Altoona. Stay well.